Yo, comic fam, big congratulations to T. Jones.
T. Jones, you won this copy of our Inhyuk Lee Wolverine #1 variant.
Enjoy your trending hot comics list. Welcome, comic fam. We're back at the table like we do every week. I'm your host, Comic Tom, and I'm at the table with Russ Bright, Overstreet Price Guide Advisor.
You know, I just saw you light up the send signal and I had to rush over.
You know what? It is coming up, dude. Detective 1027, the 1000th appearance of The Dark Knight.
And you know what? Torpedo Comics could not let it go by without releasing an amazing box set.
Dude, they did 27 variant covers and a secret one.
Oh, it's so crazy. And it's fantastic because there are so many great covers, but Art Adams, Terry Dodson, Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yo, they got Tony S. Daniels, they got Mark Brooks on deck for this variant, and they're doing pre-sale. You can get like box sets of Virgin covers or just the black and white covers or just the standard trade dress, or you can pick out some issues for yourself. Go ahead, torpedocomics.com. I'll put the link in the description. This isn't a sponsor or anything. They're just homies, and I like those guys.
You have until the 15th to pre-order this, and a shout out to Steve and Gabe over at Torpedo.
Hit that subscribe button, slap that like button, because you know we got a giveaway on deck. And this trending list is all over the place in such a good way. We got previews on here. We got like multiple printings to talk about. And yo, we got magazines on this list.
Number 10 on the list, Outlawed #1. This is a book that I really wasn't thinking about until I realized that it came out 2 days after we got shut down for pandemic, a month after all of California got shut down for pandemic, and just before Diamond shut themselves down for pandemic. So it's a really low print run book, and a lot of people are getting behind this.
You know, we're all paying attention to the first appearance of the new team Cradle. The Child Hero Reconnaissance
and Disruption Law Enforcement.
Of course, we're all following that. This comic's going for $25 on average. We're seeing a high sale for a raw copy at $35 and a 240% increase in copies sold. And I want to remind everybody about the Hot 10, the height of the market, the hottest books, not the trending books, but the books that may be defining a generation of collectors. This variant, issue 1 in 50, made the list at number 10 last week because it was going for a staggering $450 on average. And this week we saw a 9.8 hit $1,900.
Well, considering it's the first cover appearance, a lot of these next generation characters, I mean, this could very well be the pandemic comic of choice. Comment down below if you agree or disagree.
Number 9 on the list, we have TMNT issue number 105. The first appearance in full of Lita, the albino TMNT, looking so dope when she came back from the future.
Tom, I really love the extra information Key Collector put on this app. It was talking about how there's speculation, but then it kind of got shut down. We don't really know what's happening, but it's good to see stuff like this.
Use code TOM101 to unlock a free 1-week trial of the best comic book app that exists on the market. It's going to up your comic game for both Androids and iPhones. I love the Key Collector notes on this because the honesty is there. It says here, I'll quote, "This is where speculation goes off the rails. Please consider this more of a crazy conspiracy theory and not hard speculation. There's got to be reason behind the sales, so Key Collector's job is to inform the community, but that opinion really matters." And let's get into it because issue 105 sees the return of this anticipated turtle that was introduced in issue number 101 as a child.
In order to fully understand 105, you have to go back and look at 101. And 101 is the first appearance of Lita as a child. Well, the 1 in 10 variant saw a lot of traction a couple months ago because her first cover appearance as a child is on the front of that book. And that book was going for a height of $80 or even higher, but we're still seeing them that's settled a little bit. You can get the 101 for cover price and the variant for about $20-$30 right now.
Now, this isn't fun speculation, but it's also where speculation can run amok because we're about to tie this to The Last Ronin. Somehow, hit the like button, comic fam. Because why would this character from the future come back to the past at this time? Clearly a dystopian future, one that needs to be fixed. Something's not going right. And then to have the character disappear. I'll remind the community, we're on issue 109 of TMNT. We did a John Boy cover, link in the description to join the mystery mail call.
Right.
But what did the editor have to say?
Now, the editor of TMNT had to say that The Last Ronin is an Elseworlds type story set sometime in the future, but not necessarily part of any given continuity. But maybe it will turn out to be, which again is a very, very vague answer of, yeah, maybe not, we're not going to tell you.
I love the maybe because it's not cut and dry. We're seeing some weird things going on with this title. We're seeing it go back to the drawing board. And I'll remind everybody about the major spec on the 1 in 10 issue 104 variant featuring one turtle. We don't know who that turtle is, holding all the weapons of his brother. Is this foreshadowing? Is this all connected? Could they be doing some rewrites? Is it going to be incorporated? We don't know, but the community is specking on it regardless.
And boy, howdy are they. 325% increase in sales, $12 raw with a high $25 raw sale. Yowza.
Number 8 on this list, boy, howdy, is this going to ruffle some feathers. We have, for the second time this year, a Marvel's Previews that is trending, that is getting hot. And we're talking about Marvel Previews issue number 64. This book is going for, on average, $90. It's also seeing a high sale raw at $140. And you're probably thinking of Marvel Previews. These were given out at LCSs. These were thrown out in boxes at LCSs. This cover doesn't have anything special on it. Comic Fam, this marks a major appearance because this is the second time this has happened this year. The first time was with Miles Morales, but he was on the cover. This is on the back cover.
And this is insane because this has moved so quickly. If you look at recent sales on eBay, the first 5 sales of this book a week and a half ago were under $5. None of those had photos of the back. So someone was paying attention and knew where this was. The instant people started talking about Shuri being in the Black Panther costume, on the back of this, prices skyrocketed.
I'll remind the community that back when we were covering the Marvel Previews 95, that real first cover appearance of Miles Morales with one page on the inside featuring the character in advancement of the Ultimate Fallout release, that book at 9.8 hit $2,000 and jaws dropped to the floor. They were freaking out as if I made the person sell it. And what's even more intriguing is that book right now, to this day, is still going between $300 to $400 raw. And we have a recent 9.2 sale from last month hitting $1,800.
Now, Tom had Brian Polito on the mic last week, and Brian had a really good point. He was talking about previews and how there seems to be more interest in these previews from other people. Now, Brian's a fantastic creator, but he's also a great collector. He knows what's going on. And honestly, if the collectors speak, the producers are going to listen. So we may end up seeing more interesting things happening with these previews from publishers.
At the list at number 7, we have a new comic book, issue number 25 of Superman, the 1 in 25 design variant. This Maguire variant is looking so dope, but it also features a new villain, the antithesis of Superman. They're goldballing it. Brian Michael Bendis is doing it, and he's doing it with a character over at DC.
So Sinmar's first appearance in the comic book is echoed on the front of this design variant. I have really not been getting behind these design variants. I like them, but it's just not something I think about because for the longest time, DC had open to order covers A and B. So now all of a sudden they have these 1 in 25 ratio variants. I ordered 20 copies of Superman. I didn't even think about ordering 5 more to get the design variant. I think a lot of other shops are following suit.
Going for $35 on average, we see a different perspective from light years away, the time when Krypton explodes and Clark Kent gets sent off to Earth in his spaceship. There was another alien race that was speculating this at the time. Like, how did that happen? How did this planet implode? And what is this? Why is there a Kryptonian going to Earth? They're trying to reason with it. Like, is it a threat? You know, Earth is primitive. It doesn't matter. Oh, but there's a sun? Does that matter? Yes, it makes all the difference. And this character is now going to be sent to Earth. He's arrived, and he's going to cause a ruckus for Metropolis.
Comic Fam, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button on this one because we're about to get into some low print alerts for the next few books.
Ooh, yeah. Tell them about number 6.
Number 6 is no exception. So we have Shuri number 2, and this is a fantastic cover of her looking at the Black Panther
It's
mask.
so cool, man.
I love this cover. So 21,000 of this book were made first print. Seems like a pretty low one. Now this book is moving fast. 2,300% increase, $15 solidly, and $30 with a high sale. But we really have to start looking at the second print of this book. There were under 1,000 of the second print of this book sold.
That's right. And they're hitting $80 highs. It's super scarce. And 2,300% increase in copies sold is staggering because we've seen this domino effect when these other books, these more valuable keys start to price themselves out. Collectors start looking for the other books, the second appearances, and naturally second appearances.
Well, the high was $80, but there was also a set that had a first print of number 2, a first print of number 1, and a second print of number 2 for $80 selling on the same day. So if you're good at hunting, you may find a better price, but there is also a second print of number 1 that is low print run.
$70 for a second print of number 1. A gorgeous cover, by the way, with under 2,000 copies ordered by retailers.
Tom, I love the notes on number 5. It only says one word: magazine.
That's right. At number 5, we have a magazine, Comic Scene issue number 31, an 800% increase in copies sold. This magazine goes for $150 on average. We saw a 9.0 hit $400. And some of the members may be going, what's going on with this list? We got a previews on here. We got a magazine on here. But this magazine previews a very important cartoon that was about to come out in 1992, Almost Got 'Em, and they happened to include a picture of Harley Quinn.
So the cover of this having Wildstar on it, just some kind of like tertiary Image Comics character that no one cares about now, but was massive when he came out. I can imagine that people were buying this because they wanted to know about Wildstar and did not care about this Batman animated series that had this character named Harley Quinn at all. People probably didn't even read those pages.
Birds of Prey just dropped. We got Suicide Squad stuff on the rise. Heck, they're even going to bring the franchise to a video game that looks awesome that I'm probably going to play. People want to collect Harley Quinn. However, this real first is very important because it also is a example of this change that modern collectors have begun to implement in their collecting, because this character, Harley Quinn, has nothing but controversial first appearances.
So, Tom, Harley Quinn hasn't always been an in-continuity character. A lot of her appearances are out of continuity, and they are all spiking. Give me the list, Tom.
Exactly. Beyond continuity, which typically matters most, we have Batman Adventures 12, the animated series comic book adaptation that has become the key of choice for collectors. But we also see a lot of attention to the Almost Got 'Em comic book read-along that would have been sold at like stores like Target or Kmart back in the day. And it's smaller than a standard comic, but it is a comic indeed that predates Batman Adventures 12 that does sell aggressively online. So when collectors are looking at a magazine appearance, that right there is the first time it's in print, thus has now become a respected collectible.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Toys R Us and Kmart's as a place to be able to get the Almost Got 'Em book. We have to keep in mind that in 92, 93, it was the peak of comic book selling, but they were more available on newsstands, at convenience stores, at KB toy stores. You were able to get comic book and comic book related magazines at many places other than comic book stores.
Could have probably gotten this Comic Scene at like a 7-Eleven or something.
Oh, totally.
At the list of number 4, we do have a repeat offender. Let's welcome back Ruins of Ravencroft, Carnage, issue number 1. The first appearance of Cortland Cassidy, the ancestor, the first mass murderer related to Cletus.
336% increase this week, $12 raw sales, and we are seeing a high sale, $130 CGC 9.8. Now, this book had hit, and then it cooled off. There was a lot of speculation where people were thinking that maybe Donnie planted a seed and it wasn't going to grow. Nothing was going to happen.
He always plants seeds and they grow. They blossom, Russ.
That's kind of it. People are talking about how, maybe Cletus isn't going to be important. Well, there was an ad in the back of a Marvel comic this week talking about the new King in Black, and we are seeing more that Cletus is going to be integral to the storyline.
Yeah, they're teasing this character coming back. And as we get closer to the King in Black, you know that the Venom spec is going to start going up.
Number 3 on the list, Ms. Marvel number 1. Now, we know that Marvel Now .1, the first appearance of Kamala Khan, has been spiking and is hot. So a lot of people are moving from that key, which is getting priced out of the market, to something like this, Ms. Marvel number 1, that is a little bit more affordable.
When her first full appearance starts pricing itself out, naturally the first solo starts spiking, and this book started taking off this week.
Oh yeah, it did.
A 433% increase in copies sold, $30 average sales, and we're seeing 9.8s hit $200. And this is a great opportunity to remind the community about multiple printings, because this comic book, I'm going to compare it to like The Killing Joke. People know that there's multiple printings of The Killing Joke, but they don't realize that there's value to them and that they're different enough to collectors to be sought after.
So for the Killing Joke prints, the only real difference is the color of the letters of the title, which is a lot like this Ms. Marvel one, where they changed the colors of the letter for subsequent printings.
Over on Instagram at Comictom101, I get tagged pretty often in members like being surprised about these later printing sales. They keep going up, and this one example has over 5 printings, and they're going for between $15 and $65 on average, so you got to be up on them all.
Second, third, and fourth printings are hotter than they've ever been, which is why we're always trying to put hotter and hotter books, including books like these second, third, and fourth printings, to our mystery mail call.
That's right. We don't have just a Thor 7 Das Pastores work of fine art going out to every member of the community this month. We have a John Boy Myers TMNT homage to X-Men 173, whether it be a color or a black and white version going out to every member. It's randomized. But we also send out some hotkeys. Some lucky members are going to get some choice books.
First appearance of Shang-Chi going out.
That's right. We have Cap 100 graded at 8.0. First Werewolf by Night. First Silver Age appearance of Two-Face. Comic Fam, link in the description to join the community. You help support what we do, but we get an excuse to send you comics every month. And you only got 3 more days to join.
Number 2 on the list, we have Venom number 9. First full appearance of Dylan Brock.
This book is spiking. We know King in Black is coming. People are starting to put money behind the spec of choice keys for the Kate's run. And this book is seeing an increase of 106% in 7 days. $70 averages with a high sale at 9.8, hitting that $300 marker.
So we have to keep in mind that 106% doesn't sound like a whole lot, but this book has been selling consistently, and the number of copies sold of number 9 is actually greater than the number of copies sold of number 7, which is Dylan's first cameo.
And I think there was a lot of members of the community who missed out on this one. We saw the original Ryan Stegman cover go for sale last month for $4,000.
And I wish I had gotten in on this. This is a great cover of a great book, and $4,000 is a steal.
Comic Fam, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have an Undiscovered Country Comic Tom Mill Geek Comics exclusive going out to a lucky member who does those things. And let's chat about number 1 on this trending list.
Number 1 on the list, All Hail to the King, baby. Fantastic Four, number 52.
King Kirby, one of the biggest Silver Age keys, getting love it deserves. A staggering 355% in increase in copies sold, man. This is an expensive comic book. Average sales at $3.2 thousand. And to give you some perspective, there was a 9.0 unrestored copy that went for $3,000. 9.0 CGC graded is a $5,000 book last month.
So if you watched the list last week, you saw a lot of Black Panther movement, and that was definitely in respect of Chadwick Boseman's passing. This has been a long-term key for a long time. People love this book. This Fantastic Four run has a lot of great books in it, and this is one of those books that you're not going to see people just buying to speculate on. This is a long-term deal. This is a classic book, and if you can get a copy, get a copy.
Clearly, the community wants the mantle passed. They're speaking through their comic purchase. This comic book is no flash in the pan. This comic is here to stay. As always,
Geek responsibly.
Enough said. Comic Fam, did you see the Dune trailer? Did you see the worms? Comic Fam, it's going to be epic. And I'm here to tell you, we got worms. That's right. I'm taking Dune, House of Atreides, issue number 1 to print. Ben Templesmith did the variant cover, and every member is going to be getting a version of it in their October mystery mail call. I'm telling them early because the timing is too perfect.